Farming, it's got to be one of the oldest things we humans do, right? But what's crazy is that right now it's going through maybe the biggest change it's ever seen, and it's all because of AI. So let's dig in and see how data is literally planting the seeds for a total revolution in our fields.
Okay, first things first, let's get a handle on why this matters so much. The stakes, they're huge. To feed everyone on the planet, we're going to need to grow a whopping 70% more food by 2050. Think about that. That's not some far-off future. It's just around the corner. It's a massive, massive challenge. So, how in the world do we do that? How do we hit that number? For thousands of years, farming has been a fight against two things you just can't control: crazy weather and just waste. So much waste. It's pretty clear the old way of doing things isn't going to cut it anymore.
Right, so let's break down those challenges a bit. For centuries, it's been the same story, right? A sudden frost wipes out a crop. A drought hits out of nowhere. And think about the sheer waste. Just spraying tons of water or fertilizer over a huge field, kind of hoping for the best because you just don't have the data. It's been a guessing game.
And that's where the big solution comes in. It's all about data. The whole game is changing. We're moving away from farming based on, well, this is how my granddad did it, to a new way of farming that's driven by cold, hard data.
This new way has a name: precision agriculture. And the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. Think about it. A huge 100-acre field isn't just one big uniform thing. Nope. It's more like a patchwork quilt. The soil over here might be totally different from the soil over there. One spot's wet, one's dry. And precision agriculture is all about seeing that, measuring it, and then acting on it, almost down to the individual plant. So when you have that level of detail, you can finally move away from just guessing and get a lot closer to a guarantee. A few years ago, AI in farming might have just meant a slightly better weather forecast. But now, we're talking about something way more powerful. They're calling it decision-grade intelligence. It's not just telling you it might rain, it's giving you specific, here's what you should do right now kind of advice.
And it gets super specific. We're talking hyper-local forecasting. This isn't the weather report for the whole county. It's a sensor telling a farmer, hey, your west field specifically is about to get hit with rain in 30 minutes. And then there's this amazing thing called digital twins. It's basically a video game version of your actual farm. A farmer can go in and say, okay, what if I try this new seed, but what if July is super dry? The AI runs the simulation and shows you exactly what would happen, all without ever having to risk a single real seed in the ground. How cool is that?
So the big takeaway here, the real game changer, is that we're finally getting rid of what's called the blanket approach. Just spraying the entire field with water or pesticides, whether it needs it or not, that's over. Now it's all about surgical precision. And here's how they actually do it. It's called variable rate technology, or VRT for short. Just picture a tractor planting seeds. As it drives, an AI is constantly reading the soil data, second by second. When it gets to a really good, fertile patch of dirt, it automatically plants the seeds a little closer together. Then, a few feet later, the soil gets sandy, so it spaces them out more. It's making thousands of these tiny little decisions every single minute. It's incredible.
And the effect this has on saving resources, it's just huge. Let's just talk about water, for example. Instead of just turning on the sprinklers every Tuesday, you've got these smart sensors right in the dirt checking the moisture level right at the plant's roots. The AI only gives the plant the exact amount of water it needs, right when it needs it, not a drop more. Just doing that can cut water waste by up to 30%. That's a massive amount.
Okay, so you've got all this amazing data, all these smart decisions being made, but you still need someone, or something, to actually do the work. And that's where robots come in. With labor shortages and costs going up, these autonomous robots aren't some sci-fi fantasy anymore. They're becoming an absolute necessity out in the fields. And we're not talking about clunky, simple machines here. These things are specialists. You've got robotic weeders that use computer vision to tell the difference between a corn stalk and a weed, and then it zaps just the weed with a tiny, precise spray, or even a laser. Then you have harvesters that can look at a single strawberry, judge its ripeness perfectly by the color, and then gently pick only the ones that are ready to go. Think about how much food waste that prevents. And just look at the difference this makes. This chart really says it all. On one side, you have the old-school blanket spraying. On the other, AI precision weeding. The results are just staggering. By only targeting the individual weeds, farmers can cut their herbicides use by as much as 70%. 70! That's just incredible.
This table really sums up the whole story perfectly. Look at the left side. Traditional farming. You water on a schedule, you spray just in case, and you make decisions based on gut feeling. And what do you get? Unpredictable results. Now look at the right, the new way. You use sensors, you react to problems as they happen, and everything is driven by data. The result? Predictable, optimized harvests that are often 20, even 30% bigger. It's a total shift from gambling to managing.
But wait, it gets even better. And this part is really fascinating. All this tech isn't just about being more efficient. It's actually creating a brand new way for farmers to make money. It's making being sustainable profitable.
So here's how that works. It's a three-step process. First, all these fancy tools keep a perfect digital log of everything. Every drop of water saved, every bit of fertilizer that wasn't used. Second, AI platforms take all that data and calculate exactly how much good it's doing for the environment, like how much carbon is being stored in the soil. And then third, and this is the key, farmers can take that proof, that documentation, and use it to sell carbon credits or get subsidies. They're literally turning good farming into cash in the bank.
So when you put this all together, what's the ultimate payoff? What's the biggest win from this whole revolution? Well, that brings us to the idea of a new kind of productivity.
And really, it all boils down to this one powerful thought. In the 21st century, predictability is the new productivity. Yeah, getting more crops is great, of course, but the real honest-to-goodness revolution here is taking away the guesswork, the "I hope it works" mentality that's been part of farming forever.
By taking that guesswork out of the equation, by turning farming from a game of chance into a science, AI is tackling those two big enemies we talked about at the beginning: unpredictability and waste. What we're left with is the foundation for a stable, strong, data-driven way to feed ourselves that we absolutely have to have for the future.
And that kind of leaves us with a big final question, doesn't it? If we can use data, AI, and robots to completely change something as old and as fundamental as growing food, well, what's next? What other part of our world is about to be transformed? Maybe the real question isn't what it can do, but what can't it do?